Sandra all the time is here with a cold heart true. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama, call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. They always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra. And
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth. Welcome to another episode with more truth telling, more problem solving, and of course, more tea spilling than ever before. Sit back, students, grab your tea and turn up the volume because class is now in session. Call in at 936-2626 because your voice matters. Share your opinion on issues that matter the most to you. All right, folks. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are having a fantastic week so far. I know we are around here. It is beautiful. The weather has been delightful. We still have lots and lots of snowbirds coming to visit our beautiful island because they're running from crazy weather. And look at us. We've got nothing but sunshine and beach and all the good stuff that everybody absolutely loves. Well, today is a special day because we've got guests back in the studio. You guys know what time it is. Good morning, Shaka. Good morning, Marshall. Patricia, Miss Lucille is in the house, joining us all the way from the UK. And of course, we've got all of our Instagram folks lining up. So we're going to get this train, as they say, started here this morning. Very, very pleased to see our guests are back. They've taken a little break. You know, they all need a break every once in a while. But Shamari, boy, we got a lot of catching up to do.
Good morning, Sandy. Good morning.
Morning. You had your world famous Super Bowl party, but I did know that your team was not in the Super Bowl. So what happened since the last time we talked?
Hey, you see, now we're supposed to be starting a new year. Why did you have to start with that? So we didn't do as well last year as we would have wanted to. I know we came off the air before we could actually speak about the Dolphins not actually making it to the playoffs and then we didn't make it in. But it was a great Super Bowl. The Eagles won, but you know me, I'm always going to be supporting the Dolphins. And I was going to ask you if you missed me because we've been gone from before Christmas.
I know it feels like
New
forever.
Year's. Yeah.
Yes.
But one good thing I must say is I have this great calendar that somebody bought me for Christmas. Secret Santa bought me for Christmas. That every day gives a new fact about the Miami Dolphins.
Beautiful.
So,
I absolutely love it.
And Auntie S got it for me. Let me put it that way.
Well, it was actually Uncle M, to be honest.
Oh,
yeah, I'm gonna give
him
some credit.
Here I was giving Auntie S credit, so it's Uncle M.
Yes. It's definitely Uncle M. He was like, oh, I think Shamari is gonna really enjoy this. Congrats anyway. I think you guys still had a pretty decent season. So
we did. We had a decent enough season, and we'll see what happens this year. We'll see what happens this year.
Absolutely. You can't be a winner every year in football.
Well, yeah, and we haven't won in a while, but don't worry, we're gonna do it. Soon come. And but the great news, Sandy, is obviously when we left you last year, we were actually in the process of bringing forth different phases for the facility that we have right there at Commander Bay, and you visited a few times.
Absolutely, I've been a patient.
and you can see the activity that's happening there, and we're
Yeah.
getting, a lot of positive um, reports about, the atmosphere, the customer service, and the such. Obviously, with any new facility, there are a few areas that need
Hmm.
tweaks.
Hmm.
So anytime anybody mentions anything, we jump right on it to make sure that we are going to be able to give the best service possible that
Hmm.
matches the facility and all of the services that we have there. And that's why we're excited for today to start off our new year with a bang. And we're actually going to be
Hmm.
speaking about our obstetrics and gynecology unit, our maternity unit at Health City, Kamana Bay, which would have started recently.
Hmm.
And we have obviously Dr. Benoit, who is here with us, that we won't need
Yes.
to introduce him when you bring him in.
Good
Um,
morning, Dr. Benoit. Welcome, welcome. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Good morning, Sandy. Thank
Yes.
you.
Well, I've seen Dr. Benoit, I think, since the new year. He's always so encouraging with my health journey. I'm recommitted, like probably half of Cayman at the moment, to trying to make some improvements. So small steps. Dr. Benoit was encouraging me from the exercise front because, he talked about how he has improved his quality of life by making sure he gets some run time in there. So Dr. Benoit, you'll be pleased to know I haven't been running like you, but
Good,
I
good.
have definitely increased my activity level, and I've been hitting the pickleball court a little bit more. And I'm going to start a little walking challenge here shortly for myself. So I'm trying to catch up with you.
Yeah, good, good. You will see the benefits soon, I'm sure.
Yes. No, I'm starting to see it already. It's amazing. Once you get moving, how amazing you feel and you start to look better. And other people notice it too. So lots of good stuff. But Dr. Benoit, the hospital, I went there on Saturday. I've been there a couple times as a patient. It's an amazing, addition to the Health City Cayman Islands continuing spectrum of facilities and services. And so I want to congratulate you and the entire team
Thank you.
for such an amazing job, I must say.
Yeah, thank you, Sandy. So, with this launching of the maternity unit, we have completed the phase-wise opening of all the services what we are supposed to start in Kamana Bay Hospital. So,
Hmm.
we discussed before that five phases we wanted to start to make sure that nothing goes wrong. So started with the outpatient clinics, then diagnostics, then the cath lab and the scopy surgeries, then the emergency department, and finally started with
Hmm.
our maternity and the pediatrics and neonatal ICU, everything together. So this is really excited. We were waiting for this the final phase, especially this is very special to us. This maternity obstetrics and gynecology. We have done a lot of background work to make sure that this, especially this specialty, because this is a one specialty, especially when we talk about obstetrics. It is not like other hospital services what we provide. All other
Hmm.
services are for patients, but this
Yeah.
is one specialty not for patients. It is the people are coming, or expectant mothers are coming to do the part of the physiology.
Hmm.
So we should make sure that this one specialty goes very well, because a lot of expectations for excitement for this expectant mothers who from the time they diagnosed to have pregnancy at various stages of the pregnancy, then
Hmm.
for coming for delivery, then after the delivery. So it is something very special for each woman. So we
Hmm.
want to make sure that this part of their life they get the best experience.
Yes.
So that's what we did a lot of efforts and work before we started this specialty and this service.
Hmm.
So we have with us today. I will tell you about how the structure of the department, and how functionally we are a bit different from others on the island. to make sure that the safety is not compromised. At the same time, the experience for the mothers and the family and the newborn, the best that we can provide. So I'll give you just a brief about the specialty, and we have our consultant OBGY doctors here.
Yes.
Before introducing them, what I want to tell you is it's a specialty with four doctors, two consultants, and two junior consultants.
Mm-hmm.
We have midwives. We have nurses trained in obstetrics and the deliveries. We have a coordinator for exclusively for this specialty. And then when it comes to the functionality of the service, see, we will have 24/7 a doctor, an obstetrician will be there in the hospital. We will have a 24/7 an anesthesiologist in the hospital. 24/7 a neonatologist will be in the hospital, and all the other staff, supporting staff like OR nurses, technicians. So what this mean is, if at all a mother coming to deliver in an emergency, or while observing these expectant mothers in the hospital, if suddenly any fetal distress, or if you have to have an urgent surgery, cesarean. And okay, one more thing, that we will have a dedicated operating room for the cesarean section. We will not
Yes.
use that for anything else. So this complete team and infrastructure is ready 24/7, so that absolutely no delay for any eventuality for an emergency cesarean section, emergency delivery. The entire team is there on site. It's not that they have to come from home, or not a minute is wasted there. So this is what our the operational side of this. I wanted to introduce to our consultant doctors. Both of them from India. They served more than 10 years, 10 to 15 years in prestigious institutes known for this specialty. So they just landed a couple of weeks ago, interacted with the entire team. So they are ready to start the service with everything, and we have all the infrastructure, equipments, instruments, everything is ready to handle any high risk delivery or any kinds of delivery. So Dr. Mamata Gowda is one of them, and Dr. Indu Gaur, so she is Dr.
Yes.
Mamata Gowda.
Yes.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Yes. Good morning, ladies. Welcome to our Medical Rundown Tuesdays with Health City. So nice to have both of you here. Hopefully you're finding the hospitality of our island has welcomed you since you've been here. And I know you're going to essentially hit the ground running, because I always feel like there's lots of babies being had. So this is definitely an area that I am just so happy to hear that Health City has expanded into.
Yes. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. And this is not the first time that I have been on the island. I came 2 years ago and I just fell in love with it, and I had been trying to come here for the past 2 years, as Dr. Binoy knows.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Well, let's talk now about what we can expect from the new maternity department. And we actually took a tour on Saturday. Of course, we were able to go in before, all of the patients come in. Shamari, should we go ahead and play that video now? This might be a good time to kind of give.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now would be a good time to play the video. But just before that, just to say that between both of our physicians here, they have close to 37 years of experience in regards to obstetrics and gynecology. They deal with high risk obstetrics cases, adolescent gynecology, menopause-related health issues. Several prenatal therapeutic procedures would have been done between both, and they both are quite unique. Dr. Gar, she actually has experience working in the Indian Army
Oh,
as a
wow.
gynecologist for 11 years. And Dr. Gowda actually is really good when it comes to research and academics. And she's actually trained postgraduates in the area as well. So, as you know, we always bring the A team when we are bringing in new physicians to Health City, and no different when it comes to our maternity. And we're very pleased to have both of the physicians with us and look forward to doing great things in the future.
All right, fantastic. Wow, that's so interesting. Always interesting resume and experience from your physicians for sure. So I took a tour with Dr. Anil on Saturday of the facility. Obviously, before patients get in there, we want to give you guys a behind the scenes look at exactly what you can expect. I mean, it is amazing technology. Everything that you could possibly need. This is a particular area, especially the NICU, that is very near and dear to my heart. It almost makes you want to go out and have another baby, but that's not going to happen. So you guys know I have the one daughter, but she was a preemie. So I know the stress of, being a new mother, being an older mother, and that comes with certain risk. And then having a baby that was in the NICU. So to see what they have there and to see how they've thought of every single little detail and comfort for the mom, for the family, I think is just absolutely amazing. So let's go ahead and look at our video tour now. Sit back, grab your cup of coffee or tea, and enjoy this. All right, so we're here at the maternity ward at Health City, Cayman Bay location. We're going to have a look at the maternity ward and the new NICU, that's a neo intensive care unit for, obviously babies. So we'll go ahead and start taking our tour now. This is an exclusive tour into these two units. So Dr. Anil, you guys have seen him on the show before. He's
welcome to our maternity ward.
Hi, Dr. Anil, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. So you're going to give us a tour today, exclusive tour of the both the maternity ward and the NICU.
Yes.
Shall we start with the NICU first and then come back out to the maternity ward?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a very spacious area, as we can see already. As we come in. Yes. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about the NICU here.
Yeah, this is a very special unit which has a state-of-art machinery installed in them to care sickest of the sickest babies who are born on the island. And all other normal babies, they are going to stay with the mother. Only those babies who require any support, respiratory support or cardiac support will be brought in here. Yes. And we have total 4 beds in this and 1 bed in a family-centered unit. Total 5 sick neonatal units are there.
Yes.
And each of these units are similar type. So here in this unit, you can see a well-equipped Draeger ventilator on the left corner of your side, and it is updated to the latest technology which can ventilate any neonate even up to like 1.5 pounds to anywhere like some 6 to 8 pounds as well. And this is an incubator which can nurse the baby and maintain the temperature of the sick neonates. And we have all the respiratory support equipment, like who are less sick, who does not require ventilator, will be equipped through a bubble CPAP. And then those are the transport equipments and some of the infusion pumps which are used for giving drugs and IV fluids for the babies. And we have a very cool background drop with an aquatic theme and some of the animals here, so that the parents don't feel the stress of it.
Yes.
And all the time, and all the parents are like welcome. They can sit here with the baby, and then they involve with us and talk to us and know us about the baby's treatment and involved in the decision making. We have all the beds will be provided with the recliners, and we expect mothers or the father or any of the grannies, they can stay here all the time, how much ever time they have. And these are like similar equipments. And then what all babies we can see is a premature neonates mainly we deal with, who are born before time and who are born with a low birth weight. They require somewhere between 2 weeks to 4 to 6 weeks time in this neonate unit. And we try to make this place as less stressful and as homely as possible, because it's stressful for a mother or a family person to have their babies admitted here for like a month or so.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we don't want them to feel that stress here, and we have wonderful nurses who can take care of these babies.
Yeah.
And this is one of our lactation rooms and then the feeding room where the mother can express with privacy, and now it is used for storing things.
Yeah, and of course the fridge to save any
milk.
milk.
Breast milk.
Yeah.
And we are promoting exclusive breastfeeding as much as possible. And we have specialized electric pumps to assist mothers in the times of difficulty in expressing feeds to them. And then each of these mothers will be given lactational support and psychological support every time. And this machinery is equipped with a state-of-art phototherapy machine, which can treat neonatal jaundice as well.
Because some of my listeners may know, my baby was a preemie. She was born 4 pounds 1 ounce.
Yeah.
And so I spent an entire month back and forth all day in the NICU unit. So I'm very, very familiar with the stress that a new mother is under, and new parents have to deal with that. And of course, a lot of babies who are premature have jaundice.
Yes.
So it's something that, is quite common.
Yes.
And so that light there that's at the top, that will treat.
That will treat the jaundice.
Wow, very good.
And then
the equipment looks amazingly modern, very nice.
I can tell this is one of the best units I have worked so far.
Yeah.
We're super excited.
So Dr. Anil, tell people who are listening a little bit about your background, because obviously, this is your area of specialty in a way. So tell us a little bit about who you are.
I'm Dr. Anil Kalesh, and I'm a consultant neonatologist and head of the Department of Neonatology and Pediatrics here. And I come from India, and I finished all my med school and MD in pediatrics. And after MD in pediatrics, I worked for a senior residency, we call it as, in general pediatrics. And then we have a 3-year specialized training in only neonatology, where we care only neonates for 3 years, and all surgical, medical, cardiac cases. And we are involved in transport of the sick neonates. And after, during my residency and training in neonatology, I also worked at Oslo University, Norway, for advanced neonatal training like ECMO and other dialysis, neonatal dialysis, peritoneal dialysis, and hemodialysis in Oslo University, Norway. And after finishing my training in neonatology, I have worked for 4 years, and I've treated more than around 3,000 neonates so far, with almost a survival of around 98 to 99% so far.
Wow.
And I'm super excited to be here on Cayman Islands and offer my service to these babies on the island.
Absolutely.
And this is one of our exceptional room which you can going to enter now. We call it as a family-centered care. And then in this room, this is the usual norm that whenever the baby gets sick, the mother tends to get separated, and she stays in a separate room, and then the baby stays in an NICU. This is one of the concepts where a sick neonate, if the mother or the family agrees, they can stay with the sick neonate, where the sick neonate is cared by us and the neonatal nurse practitioners, and the mother tends to stay when that's going to alleviate some of her stress.
Absolutely.
And it's going to improve her lactational output, and also it is also going to benefit for the baby as well.
So is this then a room that someone can request if it's available?
Yes.
And then the medical professionals will determine if that's a good case to utilize this family room.
Yes, if the family agrees for this kind of care, and we are going to prioritize and give only this room for them.
Right.
That's more helpful for us.
Okay. So and you've got chairs where the mother can get up out of bed, can sit with the baby, a father or grandparents can also visit. This is a private room basically in the NICU unit.
And a specialized bed for the mother, and it is always attached to the obstetric unit, and the mother will always be also under a constant care of obstetricians as well.
Okay, so now we're going to take a tour back out into the general maternity ward. So we started with the NICU unit, and of course maternity and NICU, completely new areas of service for Health City. So this is pretty amazing. So how many delivery rooms do you have in total?
So we have 2 delivery room suites here, and a dedicated obstetric operation theater in the upstairs. So usually what happens is the operation theaters are usually held busy for the orthopedicians or neurosurgeons, and whenever an expected mother comes in an accidental labor, they may have to wait for hours or some couple of minutes can also be tricky in those wee hours of delivery. So we have a dedicated operation theater where there will be always dedicated for this.
Just maternity.
Yes, maternity.
Oh, wow.
And there's no waiting time in that.
Fantastic.
So
Oh my
even
gosh.
a small dip in the heartbeat.
Yes.
Baby will
That
be cared
because
for.
it's emergency care all of a sudden. Yeah.
This is one of
So-
the post-delivery caring rooms.
Okay.
And very cozy and then very well lit and connected through the window to the external atmosphere.
Yes.
And well ventilated rooms.
Very nice. Private bathroom, private rooms.
Yes. And a family member is always allowed to stay with them here.
Yes, family can stay. Wonderful.
So this is the room where we'll shift after the delivery.
And then this is your reception area.
Yeah, this is our reception area.
So you have your
So before delivery, the
Start
mother
here.
comes here with the pain. She'll be monitored here with a continuous NST or a CTG, we call it as continuous heartbeat monitoring of the baby. And I will monitor her progression of labor, and when she's like fully progressed, she'll be shifted to the labor room suits, which is in the next room. So these are 3 triage beds for the mother.
okay,
So
beautiful.
all the induction and other things will be cared here.
Okay.
And if she's a case of us requiring a cesarean section or an operation delivery, she'll be shifted upstairs.
Upstairs.
And those who are gonna go for a normal delivery, they're gonna go to the labor room suite next.
Okay, very nice. All right, you can go ahead through.
Yeah.
I'll follow you. Nice.
This is one of the huge labor room suite.
There's
Normal
every
delivery
suite.
suite.
There we go, folks. Wow, this is big. Oh
Big
my
time to
goodness. Yes, this is a massive room.
Yeah.
So this is where the baby gets delivered if there's no complications.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have lots of room. Dad can sit here.
Yes.
And,
even a family
you know.
member is allowed for the psychological support of the mother.
Yes.
And then this is a delivery table. She can choose the position of a delivery. And then after the baby is born, we'll definitely give her for skin to skin contact for the baby. And any resuscitation requiring will be done in the neonatal bassinet.
Right. So you, in each delivery room, you have the neonatal
Yes.
bassinet
Bassinet.
separate from what's in the NICU, just in
Yes.
case it's
Yes.
required.
Yes.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And after this, if the baby becomes stable, we'll give back to the mother. And if he requires any support, we're going to shift him to the NICU, which is just attached to this
Yes.
maternity bed. So there won't be any delay of initiation of any treatment to the neonate.
Wow, amazing. Fantastic. So you're going to start to accept babies soon?
Yeah, we are almost we are ready to
Almost
take
ready.
babies.
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to remind our listeners that what Health City Cayman Islands, the Cayman Bay location has done, which I think is a good idea, is they have sort of done a phase opening to the different sections. So this is a massive facility, and they wanted to just make sure they got it right. So they've taken their time and opened, kind of different departments as they've gone along. And this, I think, is one of the last now
Yeah.
to be open. So the maternity NICU is coming up next in line. And so we wanted to come in before, obviously, there's any patients here, and just have a nice walk around and show you, the quality of the facility. And of course, Dr. Anil told you about he's leading and, in charge of this area. His specialty, of course, is neonatal, care. So you couldn't ask for better people. What sort of team members, Dr. Anil, will you have working with you also?
So we have a total of 4 doctors and 5. One is awaiting to
Yes.
join.
Okay.
So we have 4 doctors who are available round the clock to provide delivery services, and also in the postnatal ward rounds and the pediatric OPDs and routine follow-ups and high-risk follow-ups clinic. So we have round the clock pediatric service available in both emergencies, urgent care, deliveries. We're covering all aspects of pediatrics here.
Right.
So this is
And
one
do you
of
have
the-
midwives also?
Yes, we have 3 midwives
Okay.
who are very well trained, who have more than 10 years of experience from Ireland, Australia, across the globe. They bring in all the knowledge and the experience they have across the globe to the
Yeah.
Cayman Islands.
That's wonderful. Because I can tell you, the midwives make a huge difference. You have a great doctor, but sometimes the midwives are there rubbing your back and
Yes.
making sure that you're okay. And just a little sneak peek here at the private, bathroom
Very spacious,
facility.
Very clean and
Yes.
very, mother friendly.
Wonderful. You've got your shower facility and everything there as well. So That's very nice. All right, you're gonna have to celebrate when you deliver the very first baby here.
Yes.
We'll make sure we get some pictures and you'll have to tell us all about that. So this is an amazing facility, folks. If you're, planning on giving birth, please reach out to them. They've now got this coming online, and this is an option for you to have your baby at this location here in Cayman Bay, very centrally located. If you have family on this side of the island, they don't have to travel far to come and visit you and the baby. Is it just one person that's allowed in the delivery?
No, the father will be always allowed, and if any other family members they wish to have by their side, we are always supportive for us.
Yeah.
There's no restriction on that.
Okay, all right, wonderful. All right, and then this again is going to be the reception and sort of check-in area, and staff will be here assisting. So it's beautiful. Well, congratulations. I think this is very, very exciting. I think any mother who's had to utilize, maternity services at a hospital would appreciate having the latest equipment, the best expertise in terms of the staffing, and a very, very comfortable and spacious environment. These are the best looking maternity and delivery rooms I have personally seen. So this is fantastic. So Dr. Aniel, thank you so much for this exclusive tour. I think that our audience members definitely are going to enjoy seeing this.
Sure, thank you.
All right, folks. So there you have it. Cayman Bay's Health City, Cayman Islands, Cayman Bay location, state-of-the-art facility, expanding their services for comprehensive medical care for obviously maternity services, pediatrics, neonatal intensive care. And now we get to meet two more members of the professional team that is here to serve the people of the Cayman Islands. So ladies, I'm sure when you saw that facility, you were probably as taken aback by me, that this was just an absolutely wonderful facility. And you must be excited that you're going to be able to offer your services there. Right.
Yeah, that was really a state of the art, and as you said, we were awestruck by the facility and super excited to be a part of this.
Yes. Dr. Gora, I've just muted you because I'm getting a little bit of feedback from your mic, but what were your thoughts when you saw the facility?
Actually, I landed almost 3 weeks back, and I was like ma'am has mentioned, I was also surprised to see that a birthing facility can be so good. It's like 5-star,
Yes.
unmatchable. So we are just waiting for our first patient to
Yes.
experience this, and we have a lot of expectations that our patients will be like so happy. We like Dr. Binoy mentioned, we just want to give them the best experience possible on island. So we have prepared in all the ways, be it from the NICU side, from our side, midwives. So we have everything ready, and as we are just waiting for our first patient, and then we will definitely celebrate.
Fantastic. It's so ironic that you said 5-star at the same moment that Evelyn just typed it. She said that place is like a 5-star hotel. She said that she went there last week and she was very impressed. And she's also suggesting that my daughter may be getting a baby brother soon. No.
We would encourage you to.
I was about to ask Sandy. I was like, how come you left out that comment, Sandy? Okay, but you said it.
Yes. I mean, I tell you, if we were going to do it, there's no better place than Health City, Cayman Bay for sure. So thank you, Evelyn, for the suggestion. But let's talk about some of the services so that people can fully understand exactly what is going to be offered. So prenatal care, tell us a little bit about what is included under the umbrella of prenatal care.
So prenatal care, it doesn't start in the prenatal period. It starts from the preconceptional period. So we would be offering services from before conception itself, so that anything that may lead to a high-risk pregnancy, for example, women may be having some risk factors like maybe diabetes or pre-existing medical conditions or hypertension, or certain genetic conditions also which may be unmasked later on in the pregnancy. So we would like to start from there, and so that they are better prepared for their pregnancy.
Yes.
And once they are conceived, and from the beginning, maybe in the first 4 weeks of pregnancy itself, our
Mhm.
care starts. So what you would be seeing is what the neonatologists care once the baby is out. But
Mhm.
our care starts from the baby's inside, which not many people see. And we are going to be caring for 2% at a time, which is a unique specialty where others care for only one and we care for two.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, beginning in the first trimester, we will be doing the ultrasonography and the
Mhm.
aneuploidy screening, preeclampsia screening, so that risk factors are identified early on and steps can be taken early on to prevent any
Mhm.
complications later. And a detailed anomaly scan if the structure of the baby is all right or not in the second trimester, which is a very essential part of prenatal care. And of course, the growth of the baby will be monitored throughout the pregnancy,
Mhm.
and any fetal growth restrictions or problems with the Leica abnormalities and any other risk factors that may arise will have to be rectified or noted early on so that we can take actions on that.
Mhm.
That being all the care for the fetus, we are also going to care for the mother. We have to recognize any medical conditions, as I said before, and get her blood sugars controlled, the blood pressure controlled, keep
Mhm.
the medical conditions under check, and also recognize any possible complications that the mother may develop later in pregnancy. For example, the preeclampsia, which is
Mhm.
hypertension with loss of protein in the urine, which can become a very dangerous
Mhm.
condition in the mother, leading to
Yes.
seizures as well as increasing the mortality for
Mm.
both mother and the child. So such risk pregnancies have to be identified. As Dr. Binoy rightly mentioned, we are here to give a joyous, enjoyable, memorable, physiological care for the mother. That
Mhm.
being said, all low risk pregnancy, all normal pregnancy can suddenly become a nightmare. It can turn into
Mhm.
a high risk and emergency conditions. So
Yep.
while we are providing the 5-star care to make it more enjoyable, we are
Yes.
also going to be chipping in for managing any emergencies that could endanger the mother and the baby. And
Yes.
of course, postnatal care will be provided. It doesn't stop there, postnatal
Mhm.
care. So the mother may develop postpartum hemorrhage, or again, the eclampsia danger is still there. So those things will be taken care of.
Mm.
And with me, I can also offer special services because I have done 3 years super specialty in medical genetics and prenatal
Mm.
invasive procedures. So I have some experience in the
Mhm.
pediatric genetics also. So
Mhm.
that could be an added advantage which I can offer to the island. And I
Mhm.
look forward to that.
Yes. And I must say that a lot of people don't think about that, but sometimes, because this was my experience, when they saw that I had a low weight baby, they couldn't figure out why. The very first thing they wanted to do was to do a full analysis of like family history, genetic analysis to see if there was something that maybe there was a predisposition to that I didn't even know anything about. And unfortunately, I had to go overseas to Miami to see a specialist and to get those services. So it's amazing to hear that that would be available at the Camana Bay location. I mean, it's a lot less stress than having to travel overseas. So thank you for letting us know about that. And I'm also glad that you mentioned the importance of prenatal care. So from the moment a family is thinking about adding a little one, getting pregnant, you've got to start making some adjustments as early as possible because that can impact fertility, the health of the baby. There's so much research now that comes out that tell us the health of not just the mother, but the father as well. If the mother's overweight, if the
Exactly.
father's overweight, if he smokes and drinks, like all of those things can have an impact on the viability of a pregnancy. So these are things that people as a couple should start thinking about how they can make better life choice decisions that will give them the healthiest possible baby and birth experience. So very good.
I want to add one more thing.
Yes.
Actually, we have midwives and we have so much of staff. It's a big department. So we are
Mm-hmm.
also thinking to address the doubts in the form of antenatal classes. We have structured all the important points, like what they want to know about the diet, about the high risk factors, about the exercise they can do, and what all things can be done, cannot be done. So we are in almost in the final stages that those antenatal classes will also be taken, including the husband, what he
Mm-hmm.
should know about the pregnancy now, how he can help the mother to have a safe journey throughout 9 months and even after that, in the taking care of the baby, lactation classes. So we are
Mm-hmm.
working on that also.
Oh, fantastic. Very, very comprehensive. Thank you so much. Buenos dias to Miss Alba. So, for the postpartum care, what are some of the things that your patients can expect?
Like to take.
Go ahead.
Yeah, postpartum care. As we said, after once the recognition of risk factors are over and mother has tided over the immediate pregnancy complications or postnatal period, the care should continue. Because
Mm-hmm.
if the mother is not cared for in postpartum period, she can have a lot of problems later in
Mm-hmm.
life. Okay, for example, if she's not resuming her postnatal exercises, it may lead to her developing uterine prolapse later on in her lifetime. Or
Mm-hmm.
if she is not having good care of her dietary conditions, she may be at risk of developing diabetes or other
Mm-hmm.
nutritional problems later on in her life. So these can have a life-lasting impact on the mother. So what we would like to do is that educate them about the dietary habits and how they can
Mm-hmm.
make their lifestyle changes to make their life better, as well as how to resume the postnatal exercises, encourage them to do that, and
Mm-hmm.
train them in the same. And I'm sure Dr. Binoy has repertoire. I mean, many people who are trained in training the people in doing these postpartum exercises.
Yes.
So these are some of the plans that we have. And of course, neonatologists will be providing all the advice, the
Mm-hmm.
care that is needed for encouraging the breastfeeding, or if that is not possible,
Mm-hmm.
how else can we care for the baby, for their nutrition, and
Mm-hmm.
get the best health for both the mother and the child as well.
Yes. It's so interesting, doctor, that you talk about the, sort of necessity for mother to take care of herself. And she has the added stress of taking care of a baby. I'm glad to see some men saying good morning to us. So Robert, Luis, and I know others are listening because the father plays a very, very important role,
Exactly.
a
Yeah.
supportive role in the family unit, especially during a pregnancy and post pregnancy. One of the most interesting statistics, and I read this some years ago, is that the 12 months that a woman has a baby, so during, and up to even 12 months after, is the highest risk time of her life for having for dying. And it's just crazy outside of senior age and just sort of natural progression of that. But I was very, very surprised to hear how at risk you are during a pregnancy and up to a year after a pregnancy. And I thought, wow, as a community, we need to know this so that we can support mothers so much more in their journey, offering obviously professional medical services and just general support, encouraging them to, exercise and to do their medical checks. For example, for myself, one of the things that happened, afterwards is I actually had two conditions that I sort of developed. One was my blood pressure. It was fine throughout the pregnancy, but after the pregnancy, it actually was a little bit uncontrollable. So I started to have to take amlodipine, a small dosage to control that. And then I developed a occipital nerve condition because, I was sort of sleeping on the sofa after the cesarean, didn't realize. And for the first 8 weeks during my, after the baby was born, I had a constant headache for 8 weeks. And you can imagine what that's like, having to deal with a newborn. So mothers go through a lot. And sometimes we kind of keep it to ourselves because we think, all right, maybe
Yes.
this is part of the process. People don't always talk about these things. So it's fantastic to see that you have staff that includes experienced OBGYNs, midwives, neonatologists, and the pediatric specialists. We do have a caller who's on the line. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Morning.
When we had children, my wife and I did the childbirth classes, and that was quite eye-opening. It actually led my wife to make the decision that when she was giving birth, she wouldn't take epidural.
Wow.
And the nurses basically shook their head and say, another brave one. but I'll tell you what the experience was like. She hired a doula, and she said that was the best decision that she ever made. Because even though she didn't take the epidural, the experience that the doula had allowed her to manage the pain in a way that at the end of it, she said, that wasn't as bad as people were telling me it would be. Right? But I was there, and what I saw happening once the contractions started, she was telling her how to breathe, how to hold her breath, when to relax. I mean, just step by step. And she said that was just that part of it was just absolutely amazing. But one of the things that I would like to say is that even if you're not thinking about getting pregnant as a woman, you should make sure that you have all your nutritional needs taken care of, just in case you unexpectedly get pregnant. Because nutrition plays a massive role in the health of not just yourself, but the child. And what I would say is that breastfeeding, what I saw my wife willing to do to breastfeed, and she had a bit of a challenge with that because she wasn't producing the quantity that she would hope she could produce. And so she had to pump at like ridiculous schedules. So the sacrifice of time and to make sure that it happened, that was just like, I mean, I really saw her dedication and strength and determination and love for her children in that experience. And I mean, there's a lot to it. I learned a lot from the childbirth class, and I think people shouldn't think of health as just like losing 15 pounds. That's not health. That's just losing 15 pounds. Health is a much deeper subject, and I think you need to take it into consideration long before pregnancy.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for those comments. Really appreciate it. And very pleased that a father called in and shared his experiences having watched his wife go through that. And of course, Dr. Benoit, this is the amazing thing about Health City, because you offer so many services. You can go there and in a day get a full panel blood work done. You can do the executive health checks, like everything at one location. When I was there on Saturday, a little child came in that had an issue with his eye. So Dr. Aniel was tending to that situation first. It's like one stop. You just come in and you've got access to all of the experts. Now maternity services being onboarded. It's just absolutely fantastic. So we've got Alexia who's asking a question. She says, good morning. Are services available for structural issues during the pregnancy, for example? Is that cerclage?
Cerclage, yeah.
Cerclage.
Yeah, of course, we can do it. Cerclage is a very simple procedure, but we have to really assess whether the mother really needs it. because cerclage can be kind of life-saving or rescue procedure in certain cases. For example, where the one mother had preterm deliveries in the previous pregnancy or leaking during pregnancy, and the mouth of the uterus, that is called as the cervix, is open. But if it is not selected, if the mother is not selected well, and if we are going to put the suture, it can be counterproductive. It can even stimulate contractions and can also lead to increased risk of abortion. So
Can
definitely
you tell us
this
what
is
it is? Because I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, this is a very simple procedure. It's just placing the stitch above the neck, above the mouth of the uterus, I mean the cervix, so that it just becomes, whatever is open becomes constricted. So it works only in selected number of women. And careful assessment is the most important. Surgery is just nothing. It's just 5 to 10 minutes procedure. But choosing the right one for the right person is what we can offer.
Yes. Wow. So amazing. Learn something new every time you guys come on. Thank you for that. So your pediatric services, again, after the birth, you're going to do vaccines. Can you tell us a little bit about what that will include? Shamari, do we have a list of, is that going to be all of the childhood vaccines that you have to get? I think you muted yourself.
Purposely, because that's a question that Dr.
Yes, Sandy, see, I wanted to mention this. So this maternity service, when we start, it is not starts with this antenatal and ends with the delivery. We are involved in the entire aspect. See, that's what I wanted to tell. We are having, or you are starting this every 2 weeks classes for these expectant mothers. That includes this Pilates, then this dietitian will be there to tell them about that, physiotherapist, and video shows what they expect, how to prepare themselves. And this doula, what he was mentioning, that is available. These epidural services are available. We have very good department of anesthesiologists. And after the delivery also, the taking care of the kids, because they can have this like Dr. Mamata was telling about this genetic problems. So we are addressing that, and the developmental problems. So it is not like we are giving a comprehensive services that is associated with this pregnancy and delivery. So we have the entire gamut of this services along with this delivery part. So whatever is associated or supportive services needed, everything. And we are giving a lot of stress on this educating these expectant mothers, what to expect, how to prepare themselves psychologically, physically, and what all things will help them, whether it is the physical activities, whether it is dietary changes, modifications. So all those things will be part of this journey. And our obstetricians, along with the entire this group of support staff, will be there giving classes and everything. So it is not like olden times, they only the obstetrician will be part of their journey. It is not. It is so many other people will be involved. And this is usually nowadays parents will have maybe 2 or maximum 3 kids. So this is very precious moment in their life. So we wanted to be part of that, the precious time, and to give them the best experience.
Yes.
There's one more point I would like to add. So in the postnatal, one important thing that missed is caring for the mental health of the mother. So physical things are really less impactful than the mental health. So we will be providing the counselors who will talk to them. Women have to talk to somebody postnatally because they are under a lot of stress and they are at very high risk of developing depression. And whether believe it or not, in developing countries, if the postpartum hemorrhage, eclampsia is a main killer of the mother, In developed countries, it is the depression, the suicide, and many of the mental problems that women develop, which is a killer. And it doesn't just kill that type. It just kills the entire lifetime of the mother. So with that in mind, we will be encouraging them to talk, provide them the counseling, as well as Sir had mentioned, the training and educating the husband and whoever is able to support the mother. That is something that we really would like to encourage, so that the mother's stress comes down and she can also think about caring for herself and have a good mental health, which will be really a helpful thing to have her peaceful life later on in life.
Wow. Dr. Gore?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I was also about to mention about especially the lactation, because there are many females who think that not breastfeeding the baby is also fine. So in those aspects, we can give them like some education. We can educate what are the benefits, and obviously taking care of her sleep issues, because mother is too much deprived of the sleep. So there's so many things, like as a team we have to work on everything, as Dr. Mamta has mentioned, on her mental
Yes.
status, on her physical needs and the deprivations what she's going, and the emotional that emotional need of the mother, like she just want her husband to be by her side and just to tell her that everything is okay, everything is going to be fine. So those words are like magical words which will give her another boost to kickstart the day and everything.
They are more of an analgesia than epidural.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. Yes, I mean, it's a lot. And obviously, it sounds like you have the level of expertise at the facility. You certainly have. I've seen the equipment, and I was so incredibly impressed. So I just want to congratulate the team, Dr. Benoy, Dr. Shamari, Dr. Anil, Dr. Goda, Dr. Gao, all of you, and the midwives that are on board. I just want to congratulate all of you on this amazing journey. And I'm sure that you're going to make a lot of mothers, a lot of fathers, a lot of families extremely happy. And I want to just do a big shout out to midwives, because I feel like sometimes their role in the process is so, underappreciated. But I had an amazing midwife with my experience. And I can tell you that it really, really, did I call Shamari doctor? I didn't mean to. If I did,
you did,
but,
you did, son. I was gonna correct you.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Well,
anybody who cares for somebody else is a doctor. They need not have a degree.
Listen, he knows how to pronounce all these fancy medical terms, and he's there in the trenches. So who knows? One day it might happen. But I was just saying that, a big shout out to the midwives who, are there sometimes even when the doctors have to leave, and they're, helping you get in the shower. And I mean, they're just so amazing. So thank you to all of the medical professionals that, support mothers, support the entire family unit to go through this journey, because of course it is the most important thing I feel like you will do in your entire life. So thank you guys so much. It was wonderful to have you back. And I feel like this was just a great conversation to kick off, your return for 2025. Shamari?
No, definitely, and we have so many other areas to discuss that I think very in short order we're going to need to get both docs back on, and Dr. Benoy, if he has time, to also bring him back so that we can continue to outline exactly what we're offering, why we're different, and the most important part is filling those gaps, right?
Yes.
So we're able to fill all the gaps, so there's no need for individuals to go overseas again, because we're here. We're also having partnerships with facilities in the US. So the same way, and we'll be able to announce some of those partnerships shortly, but the same way when it comes from a radiotherapy, oncology perspective, that we are partnering with one of the top facilities that is the medical wing for Harvard, is the same way that we're going to be looking from a neonatal perspective to partner with other top facilities in the US. And it's just a testament to the fact that our value systems align as well as the quality aligns, why we're able to do that. And once again, at the end of the day, we want to give access not only to Caymanians and residents, but to the wider Caribbean, Central America, and abroad, because two areas that when we really started to have our stamp within the Caribbean that they kept asking about was, radiotherapy, just based on the costs in the US for the rest of the Caribbean, as well as neonatology, seeing the $1 million babies that even governments at times aren't able to afford, as well as insurance providers that may have a cap at $1 million lifetime max, and to hold a bed, it's $1 million. So they're like, if you could please have those two areas, those are the areas that would really help us in the next decade of what we're doing as Health City. And that's why we're so excited to have maternity services as well as neonatal services. And obviously we had started radiotherapy from over a year ago. And we just look forward to filling more gaps in the future, but at the highest quality, obviously, which is what Health City is known for.
Absolutely. And you've got some key things. By the way, congratulations. The announcement was made yesterday about your regional partnership and expansion with Doctors Hospital Health System Limited in the Bahamas. So, wow, I think we should do a proper sit-down interview on that one, because that sounds like really, really interesting news. And of course, Shamari, during the recent Chamber Economic Forum, you guys made a big announcement there as well that I think we need to sit down and talk about. Lots going on.
Definitely. Well, as we say, the next 10 years, we're also looking to see how we can increase access and through our integrated efforts, reduce cost again. Just because you have to consistently innovate in order to make sure that you're being as impactful as possible. So look forward to discussing all of Health City's moves, which at the end of the day, a life shouldn't be determined by a price, is what Dr. Shetty would say. And, a solution that's not affordable isn't a solution, which is another one of his sayings. And we're just looking to keep true to those mantras every day.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Shamari. All right, the real doctor's in the house. Dr. Benoit, any final thoughts before we end today's segment?
No, I always say one thing, actually. See, if anybody has a lot of money, they can make a very good infrastructure, like a 5-star or a 7-star. You can buy the best equipments that is available in the world. That doesn't make a good hospital. The good hospital means that the expertise that we have. So that's what, along with this, the infrastructure looks very good. We have that expertise that we have. That's what make us different from others. We bring the best wherever we have that expertise, whether it's the doctors or the nurses, all that paramedical. So that makes us to give that best clinical outcome and the experience for the patients. So we are trying to improve upon every day.
Absolutely. Now, Shamari, before I forget, can you tell us a little bit about the, it's called the Breathe and Bloom, and this is a prenatal Pilates class that is with Ariel Whitaker Brown from the Mom Method. And this is going to, again, go back to this whole concept of holistic care for maternity services. So we do have a video clip of that. But what do you know, perhaps Dr. Gouda might be able to tell us a little bit more about that. What do you know that you can explain to our viewers? What is that all about?
And obviously the video would be self-explanatory.
Okay, all right.
So let's go ahead and play the video. But just to mention that we're always looking for partnerships where it makes sense, where value systems align, and always keeping the patient at the center. And that's why even on island, you would know that we have various partnerships, whether it's from an ENT perspective, as well as even with this new Camana Bay Hospital. There will be certain partnerships that we have that just align with what we're trying to achieve. And this is one of the partnerships that, I think the viewers would prefer to see versus listen to me. So
Absolutely.
if you could go ahead and show the video.
Go ahead.
That would be
Awesome.
great.
I just want to thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for showing up today. Feel the warmth of the summer. 3 more times. Inhale, open up. Let's really shine the hips forward as you come up. There's a world to discover. All of me is full of wonder in your life. Lift, reach. 1 more time. Sense of connection as you inhale. It's been great. I really enjoyed the Pilates, feeling relaxed and stretched out, ready for pregnancy.
Welcome to our maternity ward. This is the NICU.
I'm thrilled to partner with Health City for this event and moving forward. Wellness is such an important part of pregnancy, so I'm really excited that we have this gorgeous world-class facility for mamas here on island and to have choice in pregnancy, prenatal and postnatal care.
Absolutely delighted for tonight's event. We had such a good turnout. The ladies thoroughly enjoyed their Pilates, thanks to Ariel Grace, and we've had a great tour.
Looking at that video makes me say, whether you're pregnant or not, just come for the classes.
Yes, I was going to say.
You don't have to be a pregnant woman.
Yeah, so Inspiring has a quick question. Says, good morning. How do doctors ensure that both maternal and neonatal health outcomes are prioritized, particularly in cases involving high-risk pregnancies or limited healthcare resources? Yes, Dr. Gore?
Yeah.
Actually, we will be involving if we see there is a risk to the health of the baby antenatally and we can diagnose it, then definitely we involve the pediatricians, the neonatologists from that time only, so that they are well prepared to receive the baby if there is any emergency situation. So we will always thinking of working as a team, and then we will have all the data, who patient is who are the patients who they are booked at, what gestations, and what are the high risk factors, when are their next appointment scheduled. So we are trying to work like that. Yes.
Yeah.
So having worked in the low resource setting, both of us, so we know how to prioritize. So resources need not be used for all the mothers. So it can be directed from mothers who may not require that kind of an intensive care to somebody who actually require it. So all the resources need not be used on all the women. So I think that should be kind of our strategy. So how to optimize our resources and give the best care that is tailored to each and every woman, individualized care.
Fantastic.
Not one fits for all. It doesn't work that way.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so
and also,
much.
And Sandy, and also to mention, and we had to, obviously, based on our ethos, we know that we're providing all these services at the shift rates, right? The standard health insurance fees. And what I came to realize after we were doing our analysis is that in other countries, when you have private facilities and you have public facilities, the private facilities always cost a lot more. But we're unique here, whereby even though we're going to match the quality and the highest level and the aesthetics that you would think you are paying, premium prices, we don't do the balance billing, which means additional fees above shift. So a lot of times there are persons who are thinking that they will have to potentially pay more out of pocket by coming to us. But you actually don't, right? So just wanted to state that, because you see those beautiful facilities, it looks like a 5-star hotel. You think you might be scared to come in, even from an urgent care perspective. At the end of the day, with insurance, the shift fees is what you will actually pay. So we are the same, and in many cases less than other facilities on island, even though you're getting the East End high quality treatment, as well as the aesthetics from Camana Bay. Somebody recently I bumped into when I was looking for a Valentine's gift for my wife, right? I won't say what time it was on Friday I was doing that, but anyway. And she saw my Health City shirt on, and she actually asked, she's like, "Oh, I see your new facility. It looks amazing. But how much more is it versus if I was to go to East End?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, obviously we're gonna have to pay more to go." And I was like, "No, no, no." So I just need to remind myself and Dr. Benoit that we need to consistently make people aware that even though what you see is going to be the highest quality and aesthetically pleasing, Dr. Shetty, is a solution isn't a solution if it isn't affordable. We're going to make sure that we're sticking to our shift prices in order to ensure that people can gain access. And it also makes sense, right? When we're dealing with a lot of our patients you would have seen also from our partnership now in the Bahamas, we get a lot of patients that tertiary care needs that they don't actually have in the Bahamas. They come to us, and it's a lot of self-pay as well, right? So these are people paying out of pocket. So we have to make sure, and that's always been our ethos, to price it at a point where people can gain access. I just wanted to mention that as well. And persons can always give us a call and or email us if they have any questions, and we're always willing to work with our patients to make sure that they can gain access as well.
All right, we do have a final call of the day. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Morning
to everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, this is what I want to say. I was at the new facility on Friday. We were admitted down here. And to be honest and speaking honesty, I still prefer the East. That one is newer, and it's nice, but I still prefer the facility East End. Me personally. If I have to go back down there for anything, well, I have to go back, and I would choose East End. Because I discover it's nice, but there's two little things that I find, and I'm going to say what it is. I would like to speak to the person because I complained, and I don't think it was right. It wasn't pleasing to me. I still prefer I don't want to say because you know how people is, whatever, and this is the truth, what I'm telling. The doctors are nice, the nurses are nice, but I find with the facility that I don't think was right, and I asked, and only one place I got assistant. I didn't get the room. I got assistant, and when we were in the ready to prepare to go to the theater after, and we only overnight. We went in Valentine Day on Friday. I had to overnight. We got out almost 12 o'clock on Saturday, but there was I discovered that I don't think was pleasing to me with the patient that I was with. So I would really like, I don't know who I have to speak to. I said it to the security guard downstairs, and they were telling me about the person. I said I would tell Lani, but she wasn't there on Saturday. So whoever I need to speak to, I would really like to speak to them, but off air, because like I said, I don't want, make no, because you know how the people are around here, Sandra. You know, got to say one thing, and especially on your show, and then takes it and make a whole big thing. And what I'm going to tell them is the truth. I'm not lying. God could kill me dead if I'm lying, but I wasn't pleased with something that went on. So
Shamari,
that's no problem. So obviously we have a full team that can deal, and that's what we want to hear, right? We want to hear if there was an issue so that we would be able to actually address it.
We are very sorry that you had to have an unpleasant experience, as you're saying. But then I think those are the hiccups that will be faced in any new facility, and your feedbacks matter a lot. I mean, these are the things that will make the facility improve. I mean, this gives us a chance to see where are the lacunae and where are the loopholes. How do we rectify that?
Absolutely.
So ultimately, we want to make Camana Bay also as pleasing as you have had a pleasant experience in the Eastern. So it has to match up to that if that is what you are expecting, and your feedbacks are the most important for that.
Yes.
We
All
thank
right.
you
So
for that. Yeah.
I feel confident, Ms. Shelma,
Yeah.
that someone will be reaching out to you today. Shamari?
Yeah, no, definitely. So Sandy, I always reach out when, especially if anybody reaches out to you, you would put them on to me.
Absolutely.
I'll definitely have that conversation and see exactly what actually occurred. But as everyone knows, right? For every 20 great experiences, there's always one or two. And as the doc said, we pride ourselves on actually looking and hearing and seeing what's going on to make sure that we can meet expectations, but not only meet so that we can exceed. And what's interesting is that even in our executive meetings that we'll have at least once a week, the first thing Dr. Benoit says is, I don't want to hear what's happening that's great at Command. And now, because obviously Kamana Bay is new, at Kamana Bay. And then he'll turn to me and say, Shamari, what have you heard that isn't great so that we can fix it? Because he knows, at the end of the day, somehow somebody will get through to me and or one of the other staff members to mention what isn't going as best as possible. But, definitely we'll reach out to the young lady and find out exactly what transpired to see how we can improve for the future.
Yes. And of course, Ms. Shelma has shared that her husband is going through a very difficult medical time, and this adds stress to the entire experience. So we do have one more caller on the line. Looks like you guys wanted to wait to the last minute to call in. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. I just wanted to raise an issue that I had, really issue, but I just want them to be mindful. I had an appointment to see my doctor follow up my procedure that I had a few years back, and somehow the doctor didn't have the results. So I was like, I thought you would have checked for these stuff before, prior to me coming into the appointment. So he set up a call consultation for me for the following weekend to let me know the results and if I would require any more stuff, as in vitamins and stuff. When the lady reached out to me this Saturday, It reached out to me. She asked me, how will I be paying for this consultation? I said, it was y'all fault that I came to the appointment and y'all didn't have the results. So why am I paying for the consultation? Until this day, they have not reached back out to me with my results.
Okay.
So those kind of stuff, yeah, they can touch up on that because I'm still awaiting my results to know if I need to re-up on vitamins or if I need stronger medications or what the case may be. But other than that, Health City is the best.
All right. So we'll definitely, I'm sure you'll be hearing from someone this morning about that, but thank you so much. All right, my dear. So, all right, a little follow-up there. Shamari, I've sent you contact numbers for both of those.
No problem. Perfect.
Both voices I recognize. And then Valeska, I think she joined us a little bit late. She said, maybe I missed it, but is Health City Maternity Services equipped to handle premature emergencies without having to transfer to another hospital? Because on Island, they're barely equipped to handle these circumstances. So I know that Dr. Anil talked about, the prenatal unit in the tour that we did. So Valeska, we did cover this, but perhaps Dr. Gouda, we can get just a quick response to this question.
Yeah, as we had shown the video before, and maybe perhaps that was missed by the caller. And we have a full team of neonatologists, pediatricians, and the neonatologists are very experienced who are trained in this field. And not just the neonatologists, but the facilities that have been created can cater to any kind of child. I mean, it need not be just preterm with the premature, with the low birth weight. We can also care for the macrosomic or the large for gestation babies. And I think it's the state of the art facilities that are available. And I don't think there would be a need for anybody to go to any other center. These are some of the best in the world. So I think I don't think anybody has to worry about that fact, whether we are equipped enough to care for the preterm. And yeah.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you so much for that. So that's amazing. We really appreciate your team coming on this morning. And everybody have a fantastic day.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. So
Thank you, Sandy. See you next week.
All right, guys.
Thank
So
you.
again, neonatal care, maternity services, full complement of services now available at the Camana Bay location. So all of you who are young enough to still be engaging in expanding your family, please check them out. And there's lots of things. I was a older mom, so that comes with some specific risks. So whatever category you fall in, even young people may have risk based on a number of different factors. I say go in first, talk to physicians, do a degree of family planning so that they can get an idea and get ahead of any issues that could potentially present themselves. But please don't forget, again, based on the tour that we saw, even if something comes up, they're the only facility on island that has a dedicated surgical unit just related to pregnant mothers, right? That's all that's going to be used for and nothing else. So I think that is a fantastic asset in particular that you will, like I said, not get anywhere else. And that's important. Time, as with most of these things, is incredibly important. So we thank them again for coming on the program. So Health City, always leveling up, as we say in my industry, and that's very, very important. They're expanding their services regionally as well. We see a new partnership there that I'm sure we're going to have an opportunity to learn a bit more about. So we thank the physicians that came on this morning, and of course, a big shout out to Shamari, who's always ahead of these questions. And I know that customer complaints isn't his department, but I send him everything, or Dr. Benoit, and they get on it immediately and right away. So I'm confident that both of those ladies will be getting some assistance today. All right, fantastic. Everybody good? Let's do a quick commercial break, and then I think we can switch gears. I see a lot of you, Ms. Linda told us that today in Bermuda, they're having an election. Wowee. So we can switch gears and talk about that here in just a second.
For the past 58 years, CUC has strived to be more than just an electricity provider. We have sought to be a foundational company. We give back to our community, and with the hard work and dedication of our employees, we have built and maintained one of the safest and most reliable electricity grids in the region. As we all look to the future, we at CUC want the Grand Cayman community to have confidence that our commitment to you will continue. Join us as we continue this journey together at empoweringcayman.com.
Folks, check that out. Yes, sir. 936-2626 is telephone number. Let's jump right into it. Couple things happened yesterday. We're not going to talk about politics at this particular moment. I know y'all like, what? No, Sandy. We have lots of time left to talk about that, honey child. Don't worry. So there was a video that was in circulation yesterday. I don't know, how many of you guys saw this, but this is something that happened in town yesterday afternoon, and then it was posted on social media. Of course, we would have received it, as we do, I think, with most of these videos. It's only a minute and 23 seconds. Uh-oh, caller already. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sunday. How are you?
Mr. Dexter, is that you?
Yes, it is.
Good morning, honey chat. How are you?
I'm alive. God has kept his promise. I'm alive one more day.
Oh, absolutely.
The question I'd like to ask Kenneth Bryan, his true intent in fighting to get this man's property down there by Red Spot or whatever it's called.
Oh, yes. Okay. Mm-hmm.
When I came to Cayman in the 60s, I came to Cayman in the 65 or 67, 66, 1966. The only two places that were being used as a fish market was down in the Hogstad Bay.
Mr. Dexter, I'm sorry. Can I ask you a question? Where did you come from?
I came from Cayman Bright.
Oh,
but of course, that don't make me. That don't make me out a Caymanian.
I was like, you came to Cayman. I was getting confused. Oh, you don't worry, Kim and Backers are still Kim Onions.
I go back about a 7th generation. The Tibbets, Bardens, Scots.
I mean,
I
figured as much. That's why you had me confused. I was like, where you came from, honey child? what kind of riffraff are you? You never told me.
Anyway, the only 2 places that I can remember that was used as a fish market, it was down by the Lobster Pot, the Hogside Bay, and the one down by where is now the South Terminal. The South Terminal. And the reason why the fishermen had to move from the South Terminal because government wanted to put that as a dock facility for the cruise ship. The children used to go down there to breathe, bathe. But you don't even see that anymore. And that was a pleasure to watch the kids and the families go down there by the South Tower, by the South Dock, and bathe. It really bothers me when Kenneth Bryan is fighting this, everything he has and everything he don't have because he's spending my money, your money, and everybody else's money to fight a man that legally acquired this property down there down at Red Spot. Occasionally, you saw people going there, cleaning the fishermen coming in there to clean the fish. They had no other place to bring they would have to anchor their boats and swim across in a bath pan with their fish. But it was very inconvenient. But down at Hogside Bay, by the Lobster Pot, there were always fishermen down there. And now he wants to take that away from Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson is not my friend. I wanted people to know that because when I was in the police force, every time that I prosecuted him because he had one of the fastest cars in the island, he used to speed all the time. I would prosecute him, and then he'd go to Kevin McCann. And Kevin McCann gave me hell because I was prosecuting his best friend, Christopher Johnson. I'm throwing the case out. But anyway, that's another story. But, there's alternatives rather than try to fight this man. This man is willing to put this in trust for the local people, put a proper ramp for the wheelchair, indeed accessible to the wheelchair. What is his objective of this? He's hearing, this is my sixth sense on this, that he probably somebody has given him a hint or told him that they want to develop that so he'll get benefits as well. People got to stop using things for political football. That is all this is just. That's all this is all about. A political football Sunday. And I do not like it. If I have to go and because, if there wasn't any other alternative to this this fiasco, I would say yes. But you can let them people go back down there by the Hogside Bay and clean their catch of the day. It's not, why? Who does it benefit? National interest? What national interest? If it's a road to be built and I own property, and if it had to widen it or put a road through it, then that would be of national interest. But who does this benefit? A few fishermen. And the fish that is being there Sunday, that is clean down there, majority of that comes from Honduras or Nicaragua. They go up to Marina Drive and get the fish up there and bring it back down here. So, what is the national interest on this? And I would like Brian to come on your show and clarify what he is hell bent on taking this man's property. But he's not gonna win. He's not gonna win that. That could be another lawsuit for the government.
Thank you, Mr. Dexter.
And Sandy, there's a lot of Caymanians that know what is going on, but they do not want to speak out. I have no apologies to make for challenging Kenneth Bryan, and I hope he comes on. He's listening, and he comes on. That's like McKeever with nation building when he was giving money to the churches. Which nation building is that? Anyway,
oh my gosh. Yes. All right. Well, let me inquire. I mean, normally he's listening in the morning, so he may be listening.
But the thing about it is about with alternate site, that he's not taking away anything from anybody. The man is giving back something. He's going to put it in trust for the people of the Cayman Islands. Anyway, Sandy, all the best.
All right, my dear. Thank you so much. Yes, I mean, there are, I'm glad Mr. Dexter brought that up. We weren't going to jump into that this morning, but let me just say that there are a lot of questions around that situation. And Mr. Chris Johnson has said that he fully intends to fight the government on this. So he's not going to sit back and, allow this to happen. It's one of those things, folks, where quite frankly, it's the government, I think, generally speaking, has to recognize that more and more the people of this country are going to challenge them. And so I was going to mention a bit later on in the program, and I already see it's after 9 o'clock, and we're going to go up until 9:30 today. I've got a couple things going on, so I can't do too much overtime. But what I would say is that there are people who are no longer afraid to challenge the government, and they see the necessity, unfortunately, for legal challenges to be the way forward. And I can't fault anybody for that. I always say, if you have a grievance with someone, the proper and correct way to do it is to simply go to the courts. The courts offer relief, and all Caymanians have access to the courts. And it's something that, quite frankly, you should not be afraid of accessing. It is there for that very purpose. Now, of course, it costs money to go to court. And so that's not always an easy thing to do. You got to have access to attorneys that know what it is that they are doing as well. So those are the hurdles that you have to get over. But I think that legal challenges often make it possible for things to happen. And so this government in particular, this minority government, seems quite interestingly hell-bent on doing a few things that are still controversial. There is a big question mark over why they have taken this particular position of compulsory acquisition in relation to that red spot. Somebody actually said to me just now that the red spot is known as Dora Bay. And so, government, there's specific rules around compulsory acquisition. And so my understanding is this particular red spot beach or Dora Bay doesn't meet the requirements for acquisition. And so you have to be careful when a government comes in and says, well, we're going to acquire this property, because listen, what if all of a sudden they saw something of interest with my little piece of land where my home is, and they come in talking about they want to take my home? It's not, government doesn't have the right in all circumstances to be able to do it. And so this is an interesting proposition. I think it was said in Parliament that this was going to happen. And they've already began formal proceedings on January the 17th with the publication of a Section 3 and Section 6 notice in the Cayman Islands Gazette. And so the timeline was detailed by Deputy Premier Kenneth Bryan in Parliament, noting that updated property valuations were underway and one report completed already, and there was another one pending. And so there's now an intensified dispute following Johnson's recent development application for accessibility improvements at the beach, which include, as Mr. Dexter said, wheelchair accessible ramps and chairs. And he presented this to the CPA in December. So it is also interesting that the government sat on this for all of these years, really did nothing, because please be mindful of the fact that this dispute goes back to the last administration. So remember when the progressives were in, it kicked up, we went out there, we did an interview with the fishermen. Obviously, they don't want to have to move, they enjoy that spot. But the interesting thing about that is the fact that I'm trying to see what the date was. I want to say maybe even 2019. It could go back that far where we were reporting on this. We were talking about it. Yes, let me see the date on this article, because the landowner 2020 for sure was looking at trying to evict them from the property, which, I mean, it's his land. He does have a right to do that. And so this is a difficulty, of it. Mr. Johnson has a right to his property, and he has a right to do the things that he wants to do. The weird thing about it is that there has been just a number of what we thought were responses from the last government. The progressive government claimed that they had put something in place that would protect the fishermen. I think it was some kind of a, going back to December of 2020, it's now in a perpetual trust. That's what Mr. Joey Hugh, who's now the leader of the PPM, said back on December the 10th of 2020. So the PPM claimed that they resolved this. This was an ongoing legal battle. And now we hear that it hasn't been resolved. Like, I'm very confused in terms of even what's going on here with this property. Wow. Yeah. So I don't know. And the funny thing about this is back in 2020, when this discussion came up, they said that they confirmed that the representative for Georgetown Central, Kenneth Bryan, was included in the process. And at that time, his position was that more could, this is what it said in our article, I'm just referring to what we said at the time, almost over 4 years ago now. Bryan agreed that often you get more done with honey and the least amount of conflict. So that was what Bryan said. Kenneth Bryan, the Honorable Deputy Premier, said back in December of 2020. And my question now is, over 4 years later, turn down the background noise, sir, turn down the background noise. My question now is, over 4 years later, what has changed? What happened to the least amount of conflict position and getting more done with honey? Compulsory acquisition, when someone is not interested in compulsory acquisition, is not using honey. That is coming in with a jackhammer and trying to hit them over the head with it. And that just doesn't make any sense. So I do think that perhaps, Mr. Bryan could answer some questions, as Mr. Dexter rightfully said. Pat says, please give Mr. Dexter a kaboom. Hold on. Ms. Jean said, I agree with Mr. Dexter. This forced acquisition, or she says annexation, of Red Spot led by Kenneth Bryan is outrageous. I'm going to call you back because the background noise is a little bit distracting for our listeners. So I will call you back. It's even distracting for me. So Jean says, I assume he wants the land ultimately for the cruise pier, not a fish market. So people even questioning, the reasons why this government could potentially want this property. Honey chill. Next comment, the Zoe says, to the caller's point, it just goes to show you that if he gets in the way, they will sell him as well. Who, you mean who, Mr. Johnson or Kenneth? What a hot mess, Honey chill. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I'm just gonna. All right, so we have Pat says we must challenge these questionable decisions, not just questionable, but potentially illegal and unlawful decisions. Aliano says, I have conflicting opinions on this location. The tourists love to see the fish market on the one hand, but what will be the better option now? Well, you know, you have to remember, Aliana, and I think that this is important, it's actually private property. You know, when we get to a place where a government can come in and just take your private property by force, that's when you... Mr. George, you got to do better when you call in, you know. You got to turn... My little friend, Mr. George. Mr. George, please turn off or down the radio before you call. I'll call you back. I'll give you a moment to turn it down. Yes, sir.
Good morning.
You get put in CMR jail this morning for not turning that radio off.
Sorry about that.
I'm good. Morning. How are you? Yes, sir. Very, very good.
Okay, I am almost to my 4 scores. And I grew up right on that spot there where the fishermen are. Let me slowly, I want to repeat what I just said. I am almost to my 4 score years. And from time I knew myself that I could walk out there, Elon Pars, Mr. Guybird, Mr. Tiddaloo, and many other fishermen was there on that spot. I don't know about the owner of that property, but it was always called Dora Bay because Miss Dora, I think you should know about her as well. I'm not 100% sure if you remembered her or heard about her, but she was right in the front there, right next with Miss Joyce Hilton. That is where Miss Joyce Hilton house was as well. And from that time, in the 50s, those men were there fishing. Now, I'm not going to get into the thing about who owns it or what should own it or what not. But everybody know, coming from West Bay, East End, when you said go down there to the fisher shop and buy fish, that's where you would find those fishermen. And I don't know if government cannot fix something in place with the owner to let them remain there.
Well, that, like I said, supposedly that was done in 2020. So I am confused about that part of it. Obviously, government doesn't own it. Otherwise, there'd be no need to try to, acquire it in the way in which they're doing. So I don't think there's any dispute that Mr. Johnson does own the property. But, I don't know what happened to this 2020 deal that allegedly was undertaken.
Yeah, I would like to know who he bought it from. That is a good question. Who he bought it from. Because really and truly, nobody didn't own that. They only called it Dora Bay because she was right there in front of it. And when people wanted to go swim, because I learned to swim right there, We used to call that Barbie. Used to call it Barbie. I learned to swim right there. No, because of Norberg Bakery was there as well. And all of us from Georgetown down northward, we all learned to swim there. The elderly people, 6 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning, they would go down there to swim and get, the little exercise in the morning. So it would be very interesting, Miss Sandra, if you could find out how, and a lot of other Kimanians would like to know, how that gentleman came here and bought that from who?
Okay, well, I don't know who, but it clearly was up for sale. But maybe one of our listeners might know. Thank you so much, my dear. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Does anybody know how Chris Johnson purchased Tora Bay? I'm assuming it was for sale from somebody, and so that's normally the only way you can purchase anything. Somebody owned it and somebody sold it. Does anybody know who owned it? And obviously, Mr. Johnson bought it. Morning, caller.
Morning, Sandra. How are you doing today?
Not bad. How are you?
Good. Yeah, I can't answer that question. I do not know who Mr. Johnson purchased that property from, but I would have to surmise that Mr. Johnson, when he bought that property, because people have been using that area for marketing fish from donkey's years now, and that fact is irrefutable. I think that Mr. Dexter's suggestion of moving the fish market down to the south terminal is not viable, largely because of the way that area is so heavily commercialized at this point. Secondly, because where would customers actually be parking to go and purchase their fish? I do agree with Mr. Dexter's point that as it pertains to foreign caught fish being sold at that area, I think that it should not be allowed. I think that should be retained specifically for fish caught in our local waters and not foreign caught fish. I think that's something that could change and be a positive. Other people don't have to agree with that, but that's the way I look at it. I do agree with some of the commentary that says that this might well be moved by Mr. Bryan in a somewhat disingenuous way for the political expediency as it pertains to his drive and lobbying for a port there, which from what I understand, even though they've given us no parameters in what the referendum will be asking in this next round of the step chairs on the Titanic we call an election. That area will probably end up being sacrificed anyway to the port if that actually goes through. So I agree that is a very real possibility. That is what is the underlying purpose of this. The suggestion that I would have, I would love to see Mr. Johnson stop being so hard back about it, along with the opposing side. But it looks like he doesn't have any intent of being willing to compromise in this regard.
But he was before, and he's saying that he wants to make improvements to it. But I mean, listen, if you purchase something fair and square and it's your property, how do you now have a government or anybody else coming in and telling you what to do with your property?
I mean, I guess from the standpoint of eminent domain and from the historical use of Dora Bay for the marketing for fishermen to market their wares. I know. I'm 52 now. I remember it being there. I do also remember back when I was knee-high to a grasshopper, seeing the turtles on their back down there at the South Terminal and people selling fish there as well. So if we're going to look for a real solution here, I'd like to remind both Mr. Bryan and the general public that he spent a lot of money on buying that property to the direct north of Whitehall Bay, which thus far, which Thus far, it's not being used. That is a potential area, if it does have to change, for the fishermen to market their fish, or the caught fish, one would hope, that could be utilized, and it could actually provide for more parking for people. The improvements that could be made to the fish market are there, you know, as it pertains to setting up actual tables for people, the water, you know, stuff like that, that could help to allow for a better end product for the customers and a better working environment for the fishermen themselves. Me personally, I have no problem with it remaining there. I think that in the historical context, people have been there, and I'm pretty sure that Mr. Johnson saw the people selling their fish there when he bought the land. And I think that part of it should not be forgotten. But if Mr. Bryan wants the port to come in, then why is he fighting so hard for this if it's purely for the fishermen? That's my real major question, because the way the last iterations of the port idea have been put forward, that area would have been taken up or at the very least severely disrupted. I think that's a question that Mr. Bryan would do well to broach. But yeah, I mean, if there has to be an alternative, I think that area that has been cleared out for this project does not come into fruition. That is a viable alternative. I would be very interested to hear the opinion of the Caymanian fishermen in this regard, whether or not they would consider that as, you know, an acceptable compromise or an acceptable, viable alternative. When it comes to Dora Bay there, I think Mr. Johnson's intent is to make it more into a public beach and at the same time remove the fishermen from that area from being able to market their wares. I just suggest to both parties involved, stop being so hard back about it on either side. Use some common sense as it pertains to thinking about what the real alternatives could be. But I don't want to see this take over. I think it puts a bad taste in people's mouths. But I also would suggest to Mr. Johnson, maybe you can compromise on your side of the equation as well.
All right. Well, we'll certainly see if we can reach out to him, because I want to know what happened since 2020 when it appeared that the progressives had reached some sort of compromise with him. Of course, you know, he has a right to make improvements to his property. The other thing that some of you may not be thinking about that perhaps Mr. Johnson is, especially in light of the fact that a lot of you are like, well, do they now have a prescriptive right and all this sort of stuff? Maybe he doesn't want it to get to the point where they have a prescriptive right. And that's why he is asserting his power over the property. That's why he wants to do, you know, the improvements and the renovations and all that sort of stuff, to still make it very, very clear that, hey, I own this property, not you. I'm giving you invited rights to utilize it, but you do not have any prescriptive rights. And that is, you know, my mind kind of thinking maybe he's been advised to be very, very careful in terms of how that happens. So Faded Mary Jean has a comment. She says, so Kenneth is now bullying people to give up land now, shaking my head. And she goes on to say, Cayman, a communist country now, this is where we reach. Anthony says, since we're talking about the fish market, did we get a chance to see get a chance to see the viral East End fish fry video? No, I haven't seen that. Rotan Angler says the fish market removal could be the cruise companies giving the owner of the property offers to buy or lease the location. Cruise companies love to open locations to entertain their guests while in port. I guess we don't know, but again, it's private property. Miss Anita says, I understand why the fishermen couldn't use the dock area. Did you mean to say, I don't understand or I understand? Just clarify that for me. And the little bay down by the Cayman Cat boat, this is, there's even parking there. Is that next to Lobster Pot? So Tartarian says, from whom did he purchase the property? Mr. George knows something deeper. It soon come to light. Well, Mr. George says he doesn't know. Lucy, good morning, says, good morning, Miss Sandra. Shout out for all of our customers at Dragon Inn Restaurant. We open Tuesday till Thursday, same time. Love your show and keep it up. Thank you. Vernita says that my friends, my brothers and I raised up swimming and fishing there. Across the street was a bar called Matilda Corner, as memories serve me. And don't forget, Mr. Norberg, Wholesome Bakery. Isn't the bakery further down? Where the little ice cream places, I think they've moved out now, but jewelry stores and stuff in there. Faded Mary Jean says, I like the yet that you tossed in there. Lots of questions around this, and I think this is another example, obviously, where the government is going to be involved in some litigation. So last week, we saw the National Conservation Council. They must have been listening to Thursday's show because I said, woo, honey child, this case is ripe for litigation. And this is where they removed all of the council members. They did not follow the law in terms of the 2/3 requirement, except in exceptional circumstances. And now they are being challenged by council members, and I think somebody else who's not necessarily a council member. But anyway, this is a very, very interesting situation. And I think what is most interesting about it, let me see if I can actually find the letter, is the gentleman who wrote the letter on behalf of those appealing it, the NCC members and others. He is known to be a KC. That, honey child, I'm told that this man is a heavy hitter, and he's the KC that they continually use to beat the government. So every single case that the NCC has won, this is the guy that has handled the case on their behalf. So government, you haven't won against him yet, and I think you're in trouble again. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy. How are you today?
Morning, not bad. How you doing?
Oh, great. I'm good.
Good.
Just a little info.
Yes.
I just crossed the property that was just mentioned about the north of the lobster pot.
Yes.
And there was a sign there, and I just saw the frame, but the sign is gone. It was saying future home of some kind of tourist attraction or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah. But yes, it's gone. I wonder why.
I don't know. What did the sign say before? Do you know?
It said something about future home of some kind of tourist attraction.
Okay. And this is Dora Bay that you're referring to, or further out?
No, the piece of property north of the lobster pot that the gentleman was talking about, that it's been cleared, there would be an alternative for the fishermen.
Oh,
I just passed there, and the frame for the sign is there, but the sign itself is gone. Very strange. Sometimes when a new plan or a new owner takes over, that could happen. Just saying. It'll be interesting to know why the sign is gone.
Okay. So somebody else said, thank you very much, appreciate it. Someone else said, why not mention the property across from Trisha's Roses as well? I'm trying to think. Trisha's Roses, okay. Ask your listeners if they know if the government also acquired that land for their craft market. That's the same property that your current caller is referring to. Oh, okay. Another person said location across from Kirk's was supposed to be the Georgetown Experience developed by the Ministry of Tourism. So I think that's the same one that this other person is thinking of. The property, and it pretty much done nothing with it since we got it. Well, when did we acquire that? Oh, so many questions. I don't have the answers, but I'm going to ask and I'm going to find out. What a hot mess. Jonathan says, yes, that's the same place. Oh, Luis, we were gonna get to that today, but I think we'll talk about the shoe shine situation tomorrow, because I do have some additional information that I want to share with our listeners. So what a hot mix-up conundrum. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So let me come back to some of these. I'm going to ask some questions. I'm going to find out the history of the property. I'm going to reach out to Mr. Johnson. We'll reach out to the minister. Let's see if we can get some of these bits and pieces of the puzzle put together, and then give me a day or so to get back to you guys with some answers. So you guys know how this works. We don't have all the answers. A lot of times we don't know what's going on, honey child. We're just asking the questions. But one thing for sure is we will definitely ask, because it's important for you people to know what's going on. It's important for me to know. I can inform you of what's happening. We want to get it factually correct and factually straight, okay? So leave it with me, and I'm going to chase a couple people. I also need to understand what has transpired since the last time that the government said they had a deal with Mr. Chris. It's all very confusing. All right, Tartarian says Rennie Barnes knows about the history. That's my uncle. I can certainly ask him as well. We'll message Uncle Rennie and see what he can tell us about that also. That's why I love these Cayman Voices segments, because we are able to learn a lot about our history that we don't always know. Listen, there's a lot about it, a lot about these things that I simply don't know. And, when you have an uncle or a cousin or somebody else that you can reach out to, some older heads, that's some of their very, very important historical value that they bring to it. So I'll reach out to Uncle Rennie. I'll ask him all about it. Maybe we can get a little soundbite from him about that Dora Bay area. And of course, a lot of Georgetowners like myself, I'm from Central, I think that's still considered Central, Hospital Road area. We would walk every single Sunday like clockwork. We would walk from there down to Hogside Bay and frolic in the water. It wasn't really swimming, trust me. And I remember all the little sea urchins. What else do we call them? The little brown stickly things. They would like juke in your foot, and then you'd have to, they told you the thing to do was to pee on it. And I was always like, ew, nobody not peeing on my foot. But now they tell you don't do that actually does not help. But that was what we were taught, like if you get one of them stuck in your foot, have somebody urinate on your foot. How disgusting is that? And that was supposedly sea eggs. Yeah, that would supposedly force it to come out. But, these are things that we did, and this is part of our history and our culture. Our children will never experience any of those things. And so we have to keep those stories and those memories and stuff like that alive, so that they can, know what it was like. And I swear, every single Sunday, I don't know how I managed this, I was very young, but I remember it for some bizarre reason. I always got a buck toe. Like I always bucked my toe walking, because of course we walking barefoot down to Hogside Bay. And somehow every single time, every Sunday, I'm like walking, that was when the road was really a mall road for real. And I'm walking, my poor little big toe just buck on a little rock or something. And I'd be like, oh, Lord Jesus, another buck toe again? Anyway, so many fond memories. I remember my dad taking me out there at one point in the 80s. There used to be a guy there, maybe it was the 90s, but he used to be there with his little snow cone machine. I used to love to go there. And so my dad would take me there. Oh, God, I remember the Islander Hotel. Best ham and cheese sandwiches. Little did I know, my dad probably wasn't so concerned about getting me a ham and cheese sandwich. He just wanted to hang out at the bar. But I was all into the ham and cheese sandwiches. Anyway, honey child, what can we say? Lots of changes in our small island. Some of us definitely are not ready for it, not welcoming it, but it's here. So let me get you guys some answers and we'll come back. So tomorrow, let's see if we can talk about the situation with the bus driver in town. That was a hot mess yesterday. And what else? We'll see what information we can get about this in the interim, and I'll come back to you guys on it. Fair enough? All right. Can't go into too much overtime today because I've got I've got projects that are due. Lots of projects, paperwork stacking up on my desk in jail. Got to get stuff done. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Have an enjoyable and safe Tuesday. And we'll be back at 7:30 a.m.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.